Hey guys, Lee from Total Auto and Wheel. Have you ever just had one of those days where you say, screw it, I'm going home, I'm too dumb, I'm gonna have to find a new job? Well, today was that day for me. And I just spent 4 hours trying to diagnose an electrical issue, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Let me walk you through it. So, go over the schematics real quick. Working on an air compressor, AC compressor for a Chevy van. Came in. Backstory to this is it was in an accident. We had to fix a bunch of stuff, got it all back together. Needed a new AC compressor, a new dryer. We put an orifice tube in it because it looked like it was dipped in metal. Did a flush on it. Thing left here blowing out about 40 degrees out the vents. If you want any better than that, good luck. That was about as good as we'll ever get on a new one. So when it left here, it was working. Vehicle set for, I probably set for 3 or 4 months. Then he decided he's going to put it to work. Battery was dead on it. Here's what I think happened. I can't prove it. I think they hooked up the jumper cables backwards. What I think happened, I'm not sure, because the usual things that blow fuse-wise aren't blown in this. But some funky stuff happened. Low beam lights weren't working. High beam lights were working. AC compressor wasn't working. But none of the fuses were blown. So let's stop there and let's start with the diagnostic. AC compressor's not kicking on. So first thing we do is we check fuse 22, it's good. Check fuse 32, it's good. And this is the control wire from the ECM. And what it does, this is what led me down a rabbit hole. It gets inputs from the low pressure switch and the high pressure switch. As long as it's passing ground through there, it goes back to PCM and says, hey, we're good. Go ahead and ground that relay out. What it'll do is it'll ground this relay out, which in turn closes this relay and brings power from fuse 32 to the compressor, which is here. Compressor starts going. Well, here's where things went sideways. I had, with AC on, I have my ground here, I have my power there, I have a power there, but the compressor was not kicking on. Thought, okay, easy enough. Relay's bad. So I pulled the relay out of the low beam light socket. I didn't check that circuit because there was no reason to, and shame on me. We'll get into that in a minute. So I put the relay in there. Still no power to the compressor. So now I'm like, well, maybe I'm foolish and didn't see this closing with the ground and this switch closing with the ground. So I spent hours getting to that switch, getting to this switch, back probing them to find out that they were in fact closing. Snap, snap. And I should have known better, because the only way that this turns on and will activate that relay is if those two switches are closed. But doubting myself, doubting the schematics here, I just thought I had to check it, so I checked it. So back to this, we have ground, we have power and power, but we're having nothing to do with this. And I've changed this relay. So I said, you know what, let me grab the horn relay. Maybe it's the relay bad. Put the horn relay in it, still, same thing. Well, that's got me thinking, maybe it's got to be in the fuse box. It's got to be the power out of the fuse box to the AC compressor. That's what it's got to be, right? Well, here's where I went sideways again. I took a wire. See if I can find that wire. Don't know if I can find that wire. Well, just say I have a wire here. I even pulled this thing apart, pulled this relay apart. I took a wire and I turned it, wrapped it around that, stuck the relay in, checked it with the power probe, and I was supposed to be getting ground there from the PCM. I was getting ground from the PCM. Now, I took another wire, or that same wire, unwrapped it from here, wrapped it on this pin. This pin goes to the compressor. Well, I wasn't getting 12 volts, but if I put 12 volts to the wire, it would power on the compressor. So that tells me the wiring from the fuse box all the way to the compressor, which is way down over there, was good. So I have to, this is where I got stupid. You can see I've got two relays here. Both these relays, neither of them work. But if I took this is a switchable power source. All I do is put this in place of the relay. It'll take power from this pin. When I turn the switch on, it'll put power to that pin, which sends power to the compressor. And sure enough, when I did that, it was powering the compressor. So, what does that leave us not having? I don't know. Truly don't know. I thought, well, let me try one other thing. I know the windshield wipers work because when I pulled the truck in, I turned the turn signal on, and inadvertently I turned the windshield wipers on. So I put that in to the spot. Let me get my flashlight. You can see I've taken a fuse out of that hole, or relay out of that hole. I've even taken the spare relay out, did no good. But that windshield wiper relay, I put it in the hole and the compressor's working. And I've never in my life seen this. You really probably can't see it. The compressor's all the way down there. You see it spinning between those two hoses right there. Compressor's working. I have never had 3 relays bad. And one relay, okay, so that's why I changed with the low beams. Well, guess what? It didn't work either. So, you know, you usually won't have 2 relays bad, so then you start second guessing yourself. Am I diagnosing this right? Surely I can't have 2 relays bad. Let's pull the spare relay, which has never been used, supposedly. Let's pull that out and slam it in and see what happens. Nothing. So that was 3 relays. So I kept going back to being able to put 12 volts to that using this little switch here, this little relay switch. Every time I would turn that on, the compressor would kick on. So what I did is, I knew the headlights worked because when we did all this work, we put headlights in it. So I took these 2 relays, so I'm gonna do it just for giggles right now. This hole right here, can't see it all that well. That hole right there is for the low beam lights. You put this relay in it. Maybe? Okay, so it is, you can see it's inserted in right there. Now, I'm pretty sure I got the low beam lights on. Yep, lights are on, switch is on. We've got nothing. All right, so let's try the other relay I've been messing with for hours. It's installed, we got no low beam still. Guys, I can't say that I've ever had this before, and I don't know if I'll ever have it again, but to have 3 relays bad, just my luck. So how do you build this customer out? Well, I'm gonna say had I had good relays, it would have taken me an hour and a half. By the time I diagnosed it, figured out where all the power wires are. So bill out an hour and a half on this job. I had to vac and refill the system because he said the system was empty, but it was not. It's supposed to take 1.8 pounds, it had 1.78 pounds in it. Can't get any closer than that. So long and short of it is 4 hours into this job, and I'm gonna only be able to bill out hour and a half. I don't even know what to say. I got my butt kicked today, and like I said, I'm used to maybe one part being bad. Gosh, not 2, and especially not 3, all in the same relay box. Now I know why his horn wasn't working, his headlights weren't working, and the spare, they were all blown. So guys, I don't even know what to say. I hope you guys learned something. I know I learned something today. If you think you know what you're doing and you're going down the right test of procedures, I knew I had power on the two blades. I had the ground control coming from the PCM, and I knew if I sent power down to the compressor, it was turning on. I should have stopped right there and figured out which relay was good. Now we know. I only have one good relay in the whole box, so I'm thinking this goes back to putting the battery cables on backwards and getting a surge. Never seen it before, but that's all I can think of at this point. But guys, I'm frustrated, I'm tired, I'm going home, but I got it. Have a good night. Talk to you guys later.